Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works.
Commissioners Rivas, Repenning, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. May we start with Bureau introductions, starting with street services.
For today, which is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Steffi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Robert Potter, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Chris Johnson, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Good morning, Raul Mendoza, Assistant Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under Neighborhood Council commentary, no speaker cards under public comment, and no speaker cards on any of the items today.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we will close general public comment as well as our Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Let's go to agenda item number 1 and get our bids taken care of. Bids for 2 public works projects for the Los Angeles Fire Department Van Nuys Fire Station. Estimate $14,092,100 in Council District 6. Second project for the First Street Viaduct over Glendale Boulevard project. It's a federal project. Estimate $9,451,690.50 in Council Districts 1 and 13. Mr. Mendoza on number 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first project we'll be opening bids for is for the LAFD Van Nuys Fire Station, number 39. It's a rebid, and the engineer's estimate is $14,092,100. That's 14092,100. The first bid received is from Ford EC Incorporated with a total bid amount of $14,499,000 even. That's 14499,000. The second and final bid received for this project is from Pinner Construction Company Incorporated with a total bid amount of $15,499,000 even. That's 15499,000. The second project we'll be opening bids for is for the First Street Viaduct over Glendale Boulevard project, bridge number 53C-0045, federal project number BHLS-5006170, with an engineer's estimate of $9,451,690.50. The first bid received is from USS Cal Builders Incorporated with a total bid amount of $10,976,810.30. That's 10976,810.30. The second bid received is from Steve P. Rados Incorporated with a total bid amount of $10,689,284.75. That's 10689,284.75. The third bid received for this project is from Reyes Construction Incorporated with a total bid amount of $14,937,252 even. That's 14937,252. And the final bid received for this project is from Peterson Chase General Engineering Construction Incorporated with a total bid amount of $12,671,437 even. That's 12671,437. And that'll conclude the bids for the 2 projects on item number 1.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mendoza. Is there a second to my motion that we receive the bids forthwith? By Commissioner Penning. Any objection? Without objection, the bids will be received forthwith. A housekeeping item, is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes for the meeting of Friday, February 3rd, 2017? By Commissioners Rivas and Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. An administrative item, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council District 4 for the McAdden Place Beverly Boulevard to 3rd Street reconstruction project. The estimate is $657,422. The bid receipt day is Wednesday, March 29th, 2017. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 9 forthwith? That will be by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Colleagues, this is Engineering Week, and Engineers Week, I should say. We have a competition for middle school design, and Sergio Infanzon, who is back again, sir. Welcome. You want to introduce us to what we're going to do for our competition?
Okay. Good morning, commissioners. Thank you one more time. This is the third year that we do this, 4 year in a row. First year was only with elementary students, but we're very thankful for giving us this opportunity. I'm here not directly, but indirectly representing the office of Councilmember Cedillo, Councilmember Buscaino, and Councilmember Price, who are partners on this project, and I want to thank you on their behalf for giving us this opportunity. This week, for those who are visiting us here today, is a full week of activities for the kids. Yesterday, we have about 200 elementary kids. You probably hear the noise. They were doing some egg drop at the rotunda. Today, we have this competition. The middle school students are here. They're going to have workshops. They're going to have a tour of City Hall. They have a better understanding of what the service, what the city, the services that the city provides to their families. And so we're going to continue tonight. There is a women leading innovation panel in which Commissioner Rivas is going to participate. You are one of the panelists, and we're expecting about 120 female engineers from all over the places attending this. Tomorrow we have about 100 girls visiting the LA Zoo, and they're going to understand, they're going to learn about the engineering behind the zoo, the mechanical systems, the electrical systems that keep the reptiles and every single animal in place. So we're going to finish with a high school day, and we're bringing high school students to compete in different areas. So thank you for this opportunity. It's a great week. The whole nation is celebrating Engineers Week, and the city of LA is also doing it. So today we're going to have 3 groups of students. You have in front of you a folder, a manila folders. You have 3 grading sheets, and they're going to go in that order. They're going to mention their names so that you can put their names on top. And at the end, you're going to you're going to grade them, and based on the elements that are included on the paper. And then you're going to decide. You're going to assign, their score. I believe that you're going to come together and decide who's going to be the first, second, and third place. And around 12:45, 1 o'clock, we're going to announce the winners, and they're going to be entitled to 3 scholarships. And that, we're going to provide an opportunity to give it to their parents, or give it to the school, or create a fund, open a bank account so that they can be ready when they go to college. So thanks one more time for the opportunity. And the first group who's going to be here is from Leyte Middle School. And they're going to mention their names. No, both of them. I forgot their name. So thank you for this opportunity, okay?
Hello, my name is, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Moises Lique.
My name is Edgar Santos.
Good morning.
And our topic is going to be about air ink. Go ahead. And air ink is tiny thing that you put in your car exhaust, and that will the smoke that will come out, it will it causes air pollution. But if we get air ink and put in the car exhaust, then that will get the smoke and turn into ink, and it could reduce the pollution and save billions of dollars from the government, and it could save people's lives.
The process of air ink is like, so there's this device named Calink. So you place it in the tailpipe of a car, and once the car the air pollution gets out, it will consume from the car, and then it goes through a process of purification, which will remove all the metals and carbon fibers that the air pollution has.
And what's it called? So it has not been it has not been released yet, but there is a website so you could donate money, and they could clean your city and everything. And some ways to improve it, to modification of that device, is that we can make it work for airplanes, helicopters, and rocket ships, and trains and boats and everything. So it could reduce the pollution and saves people's lives.
It will also you could, by doing that, you could save like people's health, like it will reduce health problems that people get nowadays. You could save billion of dollars, and it could like help stop global warming.
And as you can see in this picture, it shows that it captures the smoke, and after that, it it reduces the pollution and everything. And some cities, some places like China and everything, are filled with smoke. And if you donate a lot, then there's a chance that they could save your city and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Do you envision, you've talked about its use with cars. Would the same use be beneficial for even large-scale trucks?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about other vehicles as well?
It will work for all cars and everything, and to modification and buses and trucks, like every vehicle, and it could reduce the pollution.
Okay. Have you thought further to determine if there would be even a need for a benefit from lower emissions vehicles as we move towards low emission or no emission vehicles, if there might even be a way to benefit from those?
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. I'm just I'm just wondering if either of you looked into or did any further research on what benefit we might be able to obtain from low emission or no emission vehicles.
When we searched it up, they only said vehicles, for example, trucks, cars, and buses, but they never really said that much information on minor vehicles.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Gentlemen, Edgar and Moises, what a great presentation, from exhaust to expression. You know that the effluent or the exhaust, is it captured in a unit and then taken off-site to be processed to make the ink?
Yeah, it does.
So we have a lot of that. So then the ink is produced from the purification, and you could do whatever the ink and make great art with it, or great words or poetry. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Davis.
I'll just ask you a general question. I think that this is a very great contribution, but I wanted to know what inspired you to come up with this particular product.
So before, we were going to make another topic, but my partner Edgar Santos, he searched up another invention that scientists made, and it was better if we searched up that topic and then changed the other one to air ink.
Okay, now I have a really difficult question for both of you, and you both have to answer it individually. So you're both in middle school. Which grade are you in?
Seventh.
Seventh?
Seven.
Seventh. Okay. Thank you both. Thank you all. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jenny Cash, and my partner here is
Diana Ortiz.
We spent,
Sorry, I didn't catch the second name.
Diana Ortiz.
Okay.
We spent weeks researching inventions that would benefit our society today, and as we were researching, we came across a specific invention called Oopsie Shower. Our presentation is called Dreaming Big with Engineering. But first, we should know the problem that this invention will solve, and here Diana will tell you all about it.
As Yaneli was saying, the problem is California has been in a drought almost 5 years. And now we have to conserve water in many different ways. But why not conserve water by recycling it while showering? Sounds dirty? Not at all. This could actually help a lot. And how would they say that showers are one of the most water-hogging household products? The Oopsie showers, though, recycle its own water that can be used again and again. It also reduces water by 19% and energy used by 80%. But how does it work?
Good question, Diana. Well, the Oopsie shower is like the space shower, a closed-loop system. This shower recycles its water by pumping it through a filter in a closed-loop system, then purifies the water into drinking water standard, as it falls into the drain before recycling it and pumping it back out of the shower to be used again and again. The Oopsie shower was designed by Mehrdad Majobi. He studied at the University of Lund in Sweden, and where the idea was born. After he graduated, he collaborated with NASA to bring life to his idea. A Swedish technology company called Orbital System is creating the Orbi showers.
There's no word of an actual price on the Orbital Systems websites, but it's probably on the order of $5,000. A hot shower in the Oopsies costs around $200 per year per person. So this invention is great, but to improve it and make it perfect, our idea is that the Oopsie shower should be run by solar energy that will be provided by solar panels on top of the shower roof. At nighttime, when the sun is gone, the Oopsie shower will still be powered by the moonlight if the moon is shining bright.
The benefit of this invention is to help conserve water and to stop the drought. California, as I said, has been in a drought almost 5 years now. But with the rain, California's drought might be over. But we still need to conserve water no matter what. Here on Earth, though, the Oopsie shower could have a massive impact on our environmental. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Rivas, an engineer.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for presenting to us. First of all, what school do you go to?
John Leahy Middle School.
John what?
John Leahy Middle School.
Oh, okay, great. And what grade are you in?
7th.
Both of you are in 7th grade?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Why were you interested in water conservation? You know, what led you to presenting on this topic?
Well, while we were researching, we found that many places don't have water and the drought is very severe. So we decided to work on an invention that will help our world be more greener and cleaner.
And do you think you're more likely now to conserve water in your own home because of this?
Yes, if we try our best, we will be very successful in this mission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Penning.
We've obviously gotten a lot of rain this winter. What would you say to someone who said, well, this isn't necessary anymore because we've had so much rain?
Well, if the person says that, we will be saying that water is very important to this world, and if we don't need necessary water no more, then later on, because summer's coming up. We don't know what the temperature might change about global warming too. So it's very important to invent more stuff in the future if something changes.
Very good, thank you.
Out of my own curiosity, did the connection to solar, did that come up in your research?
No, but we just thought of it because we've been wasting a lot of electricity. We thought, why not use the Mother Nature's power by solar energy?
Excellent. That was what I hoped the answer would be. Any other questions? Okay. Commissioner Davis.
I want to compliment these contestants as well for your invention here, and I think that you too have done a wonderful job in what you have presented to us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Joaquin Rogan. My presentation is on the new technology of mobile structural printers. As I said earlier, or right now, my presentation or my idea is mobile structural printers. I was inspired to do this idea by the efficiency and popularity of 3D printers. The housing... Okay, the wrong slide, this is the wrong slide, but the homeless crisis in Los Angeles is a very big problem. Sorry, technical difficulties.
That's okay. Sometimes technology gets the best of all of us. Go ahead, sir. You're welcome to start over if you'd like, Mr. Joaquin.
Yeah, I'd like to start over.
Sure, go ahead. They can always solve the computer problems.
Sorry.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Joaquin Rogan. Today I will be presenting my idea of mobile structural printers. I was inspired to do this idea by the popularity and efficiency of 3D printers. The housing crisis in the housing crisis in Los Angeles is a very big problem due to the fact that there's not a lot of low-income housing here, and that is caused by the lack of interest in developers to create low-income housing. The number of homeless people in Los Angeles County alone, according to a study shown in 2015, is 47,000 people. Now that is unacceptable for a city in a first world country. I have a solution: mobile structural printers. This is an example of a mobile structural printer. It is a 3D printer in a crane form. But my idea, it's mobile, so it'll be outside of the building printing over it. All right, so here is a urban environment. You can buy these parking lots around the area. You can see some of them are shaded. Then you can buy them, and then with the mobile structural printer, you can create residential infills in that area in just 4 days. These 3D printers, or these mobile structural printers, will be able to use concrete to create the truss and cords of a building, and it's really, really cheap. The Chinese government has tested this, and it's only $5,000 to create 10 houses in just 24 hours. All right, so my simple crane design is pretty much the combination of a mobile wrecking ball crane. Next. Oh, it doesn't doesn't show it, but a mobile or a wrecking ball crane, a mobile wrecking ball crane, and just a regular tower crane. This is a sample crane design that I've made on Google Drawings. Now, the benefit to humanity that this brings is it can build. Slides are missing. That's weird. It can build. It can build housing really quickly at a cheap price so that you can sell them to homeless people, and it would have less people off the streets and into homes. And it is really cheap so that contractors and companies would have an interest, or would have the interest to create more and more, so that all of a sudden mobile structural printers are everywhere building houses. And it also creates a new market, because now that there are more and more housing being built, there's also electricity and plumbing needed. So all those plumbers and electricians, they have more and more jobs, and they're making more and more money, growing the economy. That is the benefit to humanity of mobile structural printers. Thank you. Any questions?
Sir, Joaquin, before I get to a question I have, let me comment on 2 items regarding your presentation. First of all, as someone who sits in kind of in this role 3 days a week and sees lots of presentations, what grade are you in?
6th grade.
6th grade. Your command of the room as a 6th grader presenting in an environment like this is impressive. So congratulations, sir. Secondly, you maintained that while having technology challenges, which I can tell you from my own, I'm not in the 6th grade. It was a long time ago since I was in the 6th grade. I'm 53, and I have spoken to community organizations and events a lot of times, and anytime you have a technology challenge like that, I at 53 feel the same way that you did in the 6th grade, because it always kind of gets with you. And your ability to keep going and to stay focused was a good job, sir. Now, my question for you, I could tell from your presentation that there's something that drove you to focus on this project. There's something that inspired you about this project. There's an interest that you have in what you talked about. Would you just spend a few seconds telling us about that?
Well, my dad he's a project manager for a construction company, Morley Builders, and they're currently working on a project in Hollywood. And I remember going to the project, and then, the company Putzmeister, they're a German company that creates these boom pumps that go on trucks, and then they fill concrete in between rebar. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I did some research on it, and I figured out the first video I saw, which is probably the most inspiring, was about how the Chinese government developed some of these things, some of these mobile structural printers, and had such an accomplishment, or was so successful with them. But other companies or corporations experimented with them, like contour crafting and NASA.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, is it Joaquin?
Yes.
I want to also compliment you in terms of your communication skills. I think that you have been extremely effective in terms of being able to communicate and explain to us the problem that you have solved with your presentation here. Homelessness is a very critically important problem in the city of Los Angeles, and you will see some of our city leaders are looking at approaches to helping to resolve the same problem that you have presented here today. And so I'm impressed with not only your ability to communicate, but also with your selection of a problem that is also current in terms of what the resolution is that you have presented. Mobile structured printers is what it's called.
Mobile structural printers.
What I also like about it is that you have figured out that what is also critically important is jobs. And so you have identified that there are some contractors who will still have jobs. I think that also, in addition to that, we have windows that are going to be in the structure, and there are contractors who do windows, and or if in fact there were elevators and those kinds of things. And so there are a lot of jobs that also would be available. The natural instinct is to think that perhaps now this printer is taking the jobs of all construction workers. So I think it is very important that you have zeroed in on the fact that we still keep people working. Overall, how long do you think, in your own opinion, it would take for us to be able to implement the mobile structured printer in our community, if you will?
Well, first you have to create a design, of course, and I think what's most important is using a robot CAD software to program it for max efficiency, because without the software, it's just another thing. It's just another truck or tractor.
So you want to be an engineer?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I think you're very well on your way, and I thank you for your presentation. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Davis getting a commitment already. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. Joaquin, great. Way to stay in the moment and just stay present and work with it too. I agree 100% with Commissioner Davis. I wanted to ask you a question on cost benefit. Were you able to do any numbers crunching or any financial analysis in terms of how much cheaper it might be, the construction versus regular construction?
So I know that concrete and pouring is expensive, but if you take out everything else that is needed to make a building and just make it simple, all that money, or I don't do the exact number crunching, but I know that I have a good idea on how it works. So instead of plaster and all that, we have just building the truss and cords of the building, and just building it up, and that is cheaper than making a wooden frame, then putting plaster, then bolting it to a foundation, and doing all that. And that's not even counting how much money you might waste on screwing up something, which happens a lot. My dad tells us all about that when they're building projects and stuff. Like the subcontractors accidentally got the wrong rebar, and then you have to send it back, and rebar's really expensive, so you're gonna have to buy some more, and it's really stressful. If you take all that away, it's cheaper because it is a robot, then it is more efficient, and it will make less mistakes.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So, Sergio, could you have our contestants come back up real quick so we can just give them all a round of applause? Where are all of the finalists that we heard from today? And let me just say to all 5 of you, thank you all very much. We hear from the 5 of you today, and those of your classmates. We look out in the room and we can tell that our city and our community, our future is bright. We are in good hands. Because you are our future, and we're so proud of the work that you all have done this morning, and indeed the extra work that you've all put into your terrific presentations. So we'll be seeing you, I think, a little bit later, but thank you all to the 5 of you and to your classmates that have supported you. Thank you.
one more time, thank you for this opportunity.
Definitely our pleasure. Thank you. So what we'll be doing, Sergio, we're going to be doing, we'll announce there's a first, second, and a third place prize, in essence, that we'll be announcing during the lunch hour, based on our calculations?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. And we're going to be at the forecourt.
Right.
And 12:45 is that the time that we set, a little bit before 1 o'clock. The kids needs to leave around 1:15, 1:20.
Great, thank you.
So,
Thank you
you.
all. So moving along, we have another special event, and I think it was so nice to get the inspiration of these young people as we move into our Rory M. Shaw Presentation Award in honor of Rory's work with the City of Los Angeles for the Bureau of Engineering. And who do we have from the Bureau of Engineering that's going to be presenting? Is Gary here yet? Is Gary? Oh, Gary's not back yet? So, Ms. Shaw, we'll hold until, Michael, you'll flag me when Gary comes back in? Okay, great. So we'll take a couple of items until Mr. Moore is able to make it in. Agenda item number 2, Council District 13 from the Bureau of Engineering. Project Task Order number 5 to Brooks Scrappa Architects, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue Project Task Order number 5 to Brooks Scrappa Architects from the pre-qualified on-call architectural design services consultants list to provide architectural and building-related engineering services for the Northeast Police Station new parking structure project, as stated in Project Task Order number 5, with a budget authority of $727,000, which includes contingency. On agenda item number 2, Iona June. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Now the pressure is bigger after so wonderful speakers. My name is Ioana Jun. I'm with Bureau of Engineering, Bond Programs Division. We are asking the board approval for the issuance of a task order number 5 for Brooks and Scarpa Architects Incorporated. This company was selected to provide architectural and engineering services for the new parking structure project. This project is located, actually you have some pages showing the location of, I don't know if you remember the Northeast Police Station. Actually, it's almost finalized right now. So we're going to start this new project actually at the same location. There is an open parking lot. So we're going to use that lot for the new parking structure. This new project is part of MICLA funding, and this new parking structure is going to have like 240 parking spaces and a pre-engineering car wash that LAPD badly needs at that location. Due to the emergency of this project, we used a pre-qualified on-call list for the selection of our architect. And the delivery of the project is design-build. So what's going to happen, we need the new consultant selected to provide 30% of the design documents.
30%, 30?
Right.
Okay.
30%. And specs and also permits at that level of design. Once we have the 30%, we're going to use this like a bridging document for the new general contractor that's going to be selected through a bid and award. They're going to provide 100% design, and in parallel, we hope they're going to start construction. So we're going to gain some time on the construction project. In terms of the selection process for Brooks and Scarpa, we started with submitting our TOS on LA BAVN. And we had 3 companies submitting their proposals. After we reviewed the proposals, we invited them to interview. And after the interviews, using the criteria in the TOS, basically on their ability to provide in time, in budget, and also design-build documents, this type of design-build projects. Based on this criteria and also previous experience, we selected Brooks and Scarpa.
Brooks and Scarpa.
So this is pretty much, if you have any questions.
I thought there might be a typo in the board report, so I said it kind of vaguely. So I thought I'd seen it was Scarpa. It says Scarpa, so maybe not. I don't know. Commissioner Repenning.
Just a question about sustainability in terms of the design. Thinking about the car wash.
Right.
Just hoping that, I don't know if it's feasible to use recycled water or whether there's an opportunity just to make sure that it's as water friendly as possible, I think is important.
You're right. We're going to have, in our request is for them to come up with a proposal considering the sustainability and recycling of the water. There are systems for that, so that's what we're going to look for.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Davis?
I wanted to, so the subcontractor that you selected came from the information that we sent through BAVN, is that correct?
Right. We submitted our task order solicitation, and they answered, only 3 companies answered. It was Brooks and Scarpa, Roto, and X10. So all 3 companies, because there were only 3, we reviewed, and then invited to interview process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? I don't have any further questions. Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. I'll second it. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Moore is present for our presentation this morning of the Rory M. Shaw Award. Mr. Moore, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for, and I apologize for not being here earlier. Council.
Understand you were in the city council.
Yes, I was attending city council. I'm joined by somebody extremely important to me in my life, and that is the mother of Rory M. Shaw, Shirley Shaw. Shirley has been coming here for 12 years, and to celebrate an award that talks about an outstanding employee in the Bureau of Engineering. And this is a tough time for Shirley. But she comes out all the ways from Traverse City, Michigan. This year, not too much snow, right, Shirley? Not too much, sure. A lot of ice this year.
More snow here, perhaps.
Yes, yes. So I gave her a hard time this morning at breakfast. I said, "You brought the rain." She goes, "The rain was already here." I said, "Okay, Shirley, I see." I know where Roy gets a little bit of that feistiness from, Shirley, just a tad. You know, it's just a real privilege to have Shirley with us. But we're here to celebrate somebody very special today, and he is an outstanding employee. Let me just tell you how we do this a little bit. Is for the Rory M. Shaw Award, you have to have demonstrated outstanding dedication to duty or outstanding leadership qualities. You need to have made significant contributions in furthering the Bureau's mission and goals. You need to have developed partnerships with the board, city departments, other public agencies, establish a reputation for professional services, recognized and respected by colleagues, clients, and supervisors, and it goes on. Well, I'm very happy to say, and I'd like him to join me because I'm going to keep talking about him, and I'll have his, Mike Cirillo, who nominated him, the division manager, and our deputy city engineer, Ken Redder, here. But please welcome David L. Kopp, this year's winner of the Rory M. Shaw Award. Come on. Stand up on this side next to Shirley. So stand close, hug. Shirley's good. She's nice people. A little bit about David, and then David's a licensed professional engineer, number 73874 to be exact, right? Right, David? Yeah, I know. David's also a project manager besides being an environmental engineer. He's managing a $130 million digester gas utilization project for our client, the Bureau of Sanitation. And this is a very important project. The board knows it well, and it's just about to start up here and going to be running here very soon. He has his master's from Loyola Marymount and his undergraduate from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. You know, a little bit about David here, and you know, the thing about David is he's professional. He has his thoroughness, his preparation. One of the things that he has in common with Rory is neither one of them like to wear a tie. And I am so proud of David to wear a, Shirley's looking at me.
Askance. He had 350 ties.
Yeah, but he much rather have an orange vest and be out in the streets. Yeah, he was not.
Down in the mud.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the thing about David, I think that when Ken Red and I were talking this morning, I think Ken said it well about what really qualities about David. You're in a meeting with David, and you can have presidents of companies, and you can have 3-level above supervisors in the meeting, and everybody turns to David and they ask his opinion, and they want his opinion because his opinion is solid. He's an engineer's engineer, and it's really special. He never gets rattled. I don't know what he's like at home with a 1-year-old. Yeah, no comment. We're going to hear, yeah. So, but here he has the utmost respect of his colleagues, and I'd like to have Mike Cirillo, who actually nominated David, say a few words.
Sure, thank you, Gary. Well, I couldn't think of anybody more deserving than David, and that's obviously why I nominated him. David has an ability to really break down technical issues and present them in lay terms so everybody can understand them, and I think that's one of his great qualities. He's also very thorough at negotiating with contractors. He's not intimidated by sitting across the table from somebody that's much more experienced in holding his own. He's well-rounded, prioritizes his assignments very well, and addresses issues very promptly so he doesn't let things fester and get worse. And he's actually a nice guy, if you haven't already noticed. He's a pleasant guy. Despite how bad the job may or not be going, he's very pleasant in the office, always maintains a pleasant attitude, and really creates a positive environment in our office. And I think the big takeaway for me as a supervisor is we have to empower the younger engineers to take on more responsibility, take on more ownership, and really let them shine. So I try to push down all the decision-making to the lowest level so they can really take ownership of their projects and then win awards such as this, because without that level of responsibility, they have no way to really shine. So that's kind of my big takeaway. So congratulations, Dave.
I'm also pleased to have some of our past award winners joining us to celebrate. If they'd all stand up. It's such an esteemed crowd to join. And now it is my great pleasure, stay standing please, to call to the podium the award winner of the 2017 Rory M. Shaw Award, David Kopp. Yay!
Oh, wow. Boy.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think I'll start the way I always have behind the podium and thank your commission for taking the time on this day to celebrate the life of Rory Shaw and take stock in the legacy of the people that have received this award over the last 10, 11 years. I've been speaking behind this podium now for almost 11 years or so, and quite frankly, I can't remember every single time, but this is certainly one I will not forget. And I also want to thank the Bureau of Engineering, Gary Lee Moore, Ken Red, Mike Cirillo, Eddie Ohanian, and of course so many others I couldn't simply list here. It's a giant list of people that I've had the opportunity to work with and learn from and share laughs with. And it's our management that has fostered a working environment that's encouraged me to do my very best to learn every day and enjoy the job and the people that I get to work with and the relationships you build. And heck, I even joined a band with a couple Bureau of Engineering employees along the way. So on and off the field, it's been a fantastic experience that I continue to enjoy. Thank you, Mrs. Shaw, for making the time out again and coming out from Michigan. It's been great opportunity to get to know you. I think you're the first Youper from Michigan I've ever met, so that's cool. It's fantastic. Yeah, they do exist. But you put up the hand to describe where you are from Michigan, but the Youpers don't get. Oh, the Youpers up there, right? Yeah, they're upstairs somewhere. Yeah. On the hand, so. I didn't get a chance to know Rory personally. I joined the city about 2 or 3 months after his passing, but the majority of my career I spent in the same group division that he did, and along the way I worked on a lot of the same programs, the emergency sewer program, the sewers program, which I got the opportunity to help modernize, and now it's in Sewers 6. It was Sewers 5 when I delivered it, and working with a lot of the same programs, projects, and the people that Rory did, and leaving that division, hearing the stories, I felt as though a part of me did know him. And his spirit does absolutely live on in the work that we do in the Bureau of Engineering. I'd like to take this moment to recognize and embarrass my family for a second. I think half of them are gone right now. But please stand, the remaining ones. Okay. So I'll embarrass my dad first. He's already standing there in the back with my son, Colton. Dad always was a shining example of work ethic. He retired plant manager for a manufacturing plant in the LA area, former controller, and a mimeograph salesman. I never used a mimeograph, but maybe a couple of you have, and I'm afraid to ask who has a. And also an honorably discharged naval veteran. So great example to follow at home. My mother, Sherry, a retired school teacher of 27 years, Inglewood Unified School District, and also a former deputy sheriff. Might not look like it, but yes. And so again, a great example and to follow in the family. And last but not least, my wife, Ashley. We've been together for 12 years, married for 7. My best friend, my hero, and my trusted legal counsel, and proof that a lawyer and an engineer can get along and thrive at that. And my son, Colton, he hasn't escaped the building yet. He just turned a year old a couple weeks ago. He has so much energy, and I'm confident that he'll put that to good use in the future. And, for the last 30 years, I lived in this small town called El Segundo for almost my whole life. And in a small town like that, you make a lot of friends. And you definitely remember, and this is no offense to anybody or any treatment plant or any city, but if you went to a friend's house on the west side, it certainly smelled a little different growing up in the 80s and 90s. I lived on the west side, so I could tell the difference. But through the 80s and 90s, I experienced at a personal level the application of science and engineering and math into improving the quality of life. And I watched the quality of the air I breathed, the water I surfed in, improve orders of magnitude greater. And to be a part of that now is incredible. And it was great to see all these kids out here that will hopefully do the same thing, whether it's a bridge or a treatment plant or the next space shuttle, whatever it is. It's very important that we push kids to keep pursuing the maths and sciences, so that was great. And for me, it's a very motivating thing, and I will continue to do my best and to keep learning every day and to enjoy working in the Bureau of Engineering in the city of Los Angeles with the great people that there's a few from the division today I'd like to recognize also for coming out. Thank you. Please stand up. These are colleagues I've worked with for many years, even since I was a student engineer. To start, so thank you so much for taking the time, and again, it's an honor to receive this award, among the legacy of recipients, and this is a very surreal experience, and it's something I'll never forget, and I don't take lightly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Just a couple of things
any
from
questions?
from my perspective. First of all, Ms. Shaw, Shirley, it's so good to see you again. And
Glad I could make it.
and we look forward to many more years of honoring your son with your presence here. It makes all the difference in the world when you're able to personalize it as you do every year. So thank you again for taking the time.
Hope I live long enough to see the park finished.
We're sure you will. And David, let me just say from my own personal experience, you know, there are a lot of familiar faces of here today, prior winners of this recognition and this award, because as Gary mentioned, one of the categories is partnership with the board, and we work with all of you, and we've worked with you for a number of years now so well. And David, you embody that. I mean, that's where my experience comes from. When you work with us on DGUP, when you present to the board, when you sit with us in a briefing, you bring an element of confidence that makes it easier for us to do our job and to support what the bureaus are doing when it's as complicated as it gets. And from my perspective, DGUP is about as complicated as it gets. I mean, I know there are other fields that are equally as complicated, but in its field, it is about as complicated as it gets. And your partnership and management with Tim and with the team and with BOE and with the board on it has been excellent. So every time you step up to the podium, no matter what the issue is, I'm a little more at ease with what we're doing, and that's always good for us.
Thank you.
So we certainly appreciate it. It's well deserved. Congratulations to you and your folks and your wife and your son. That's excellent.
Thank you so
and
much.
I'm glad they're here today. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Let me first say thank you to Gary, Ken, and Mike for continuing this legacy. You know, we do our work year in, year out, but this is a punctuation in time to have the life and legacy of Rory Shaw and Shirley, to see you again flying out there without interruption is a great testimony to your son, because he lives in this. He lives in all these people that are here, and I want to give a shout out to all the awardees of this great award, because you have the responsibility every year to keep up the game, to live up to that, our colleague's legacy, his contributions. And to have your family and your junior here is an incredible moment, Mr. Kopp, because when I think of you, and President James said it, you are, and Gary said it, you are an engineer's engineer. So that when we are working together, you inspire that trust and confidence that what's going on is what is in the best interest of the public. So all the things that have been said are so true. You join the ranks of your colleagues that really set the tone for Rory's legacy to live on throughout, not just the Bureau of Engineering, but all the public works, because that's what we do. We serve, and we serve. And so, Shirley, thank you for giving this day every year such a gravitas, such an importance, because it lasts, and we can't wait to see you again next year. So, Dave, congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Repenning.
I just want to echo my colleagues in congratulating you for your hard work. The collaboration that I see with you in sanitation, I see Tim in the back. It is, I think, that type of collaboration is what makes this department great. And we appreciate knowing that you're all working in lockstep together on such an important project. I want to thank you for your sense of mission. That came through in your remarks today, that we're all working at the city. I mean, we could be doing other things in the private sector. We're here because our work has a greater purpose, and it's to actually make our city a better place, make people's lives a little bit better. In this case, to clean the air, to create renewable energy. So I want to thank you for all your work. I want to thank all of those who have been at this podium in the past and continue to do excellent work. You make all of us proud. I want to thank you, Gary, and your team, and I want to thank you as well, Shirley. Thank you for coming to LA every year. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Rivas.
First, thank you, Ms. Shaw, for joining us today, and great to meet you. I'm very excited to listen to this award and meet all of the past awardees. David, I really liked what you said, that how you're using engineering to make a difference. And I think a lot of times when we tell kids, we don't mention that you can use engineering to make a difference in your community and your environment. And I really like that you're communicating that, and I hope you continue to. Thank you to Gary and the rest of the Bureau of Engineering for keeping this legacy, Rory's legacy, alive, and for really setting this event and including the rest of the participants, because I think all of you together are really making a difference and celebrating Rory. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. First, Mrs. Shaw, when I first came in, you were a familiar face, and I said, well, she's one of the division heads in engineering. But I want to thank you for being here, and I remember you every year that you come, and now I will remember that you are Mrs. Shaw, Roy's mother.
Thank you.
And I want to say to Gary that I think that this institution building that we're doing in terms of commemorating the life and the work of Roy is outstanding, because what we are doing is we are perpetuating what our expectation is of our workers, and that is excellence in the service that they give. And so that gives me to David. And David, everybody has talked about how you are a fine engineer, helping to solve much needed problems, renewable energy, and all of those other things that you do. But every time I see David, he is always pleasant. And so I don't know how he's able to achieve that, given all of the stress that we find ourselves having to confront, working for one of the nation's largest public works departments as well as engineering bureaus in this country. And so, David, I think that aside from your professional expertise, what is very much welcoming is the fact that you've always been able to maintain a pleasant disposition despite all of that you have to deal with as an engineer in Los Angeles. And so I have the greatest appreciation from that. Looking at you externally, I don't know what Gary does to you on the inside. But I can tell you that for those of us that are looking on the outside, you are a fine example of the Bureau of Engineering, and I congratulate you on your outstanding service to this city. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. And David, congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what we will do is we will take about a 2-minute recess from the agenda for a quick photo over here with David and Ms. Shaw, Gary and his family, and then we'll come right back to our agenda.
We'll go outside and take a lot more photos, but we'll just do this one.
should have T-shirts. Roy Shaw Award.
Thank you, everyone, for coming in this morning, and congratulations again to David. Gary, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Continuing back on our agenda, agenda item number 3, Council District 15, budget contingency increase for J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated, recommending that the board authorize $300,000 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $7,119,872 for the project related to the Hawaiian and B Pumping Plant Rehabilitation Capital Improvement Project and Wilmington Pumping Plant Rehabilitation, Fry's Pumping Plant Rehabilitation, and San Pedro Pumping Plant Rehabilitation. We're rehabilitating the pumping plants. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 3. Mr. Herman?
Good afternoon.
Good morning, sir.
I'd like to acknowledge, before I get into this item 3, that 54954.3, item C, does state that the legislative body of local agencies shall not prohibit public constituents of criticism of the policies, procedures, programs, and services of the agency. However, acts of omission of the legislative body, nothing in this subdivision shall confer my privilege of protection for expression beyond. So now that we're in Joe Blow Busquiano's neck of the woods, Wilmington and Imperial is only a part of the eyesores, but the embodied work of this authorized $300,000 baseline of $7 million is how the project will impact the community. I see here there is no EIR or no impact submitted regarding this issue of concern for budget and continuancy for increase, because at any time anyone can increase a project, and it only harms the public. It only retaliates against the public, whose budget is extremely in a deficit today and now. But unless there is a true figure and amount that can be calculated, then we can say the engineers of this project had done their homework, crossed their T's and dot their I's, and used every measurement and scale of geometry to figure this out so that we don't go beyond a contingency of expenditure.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Zahedi on number 3.
Good morning. Sean Zahedi, Bureau of Engineering and Environmental Engineering Division. We are requesting the board authorize $300,000 in additional construction contingency for this contract. This is the rehabilitation of 4 wastewater pumping stations in CD number 15. The contract was awarded on May 20th, 2015 to J.F. Shea Construction in the amount of $6,236,358. To date, 8 change orders have been executed for a total amount of $463,643. We have 6 pending change orders yet to be executed for an estimated amount of $250,500, as shown in the table on page 2.
Sean, will those be executed soon?
Yes, they will be executed soon. Yes. But in order for us to execute those change orders, we will exhaust the remaining contingency and will require an additional $130,629.
Thus the request for 300.
Yes, and since the construction is at 50% complete, we are requesting an additional $169,371 in for reserve contingency for any unforeseen changes that may arise during the last 50% of the project. So that pretty much sums up my report. Our staff recommendation is to authorize the $300,000 in additional construction contingency.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Sean, thank you for the report. So really the request is to replace the corroded and obsolete equipment. So was that an unseen unseen condition, or did we not know that these were corroded before?
These changes, Commissioner Jacinto, were mostly client-driven. So as we proceeded in construction, there were changes that were requested that caused...
and an increased scope of work.
It increased the scope of work and necessitated the change orders.
Understood. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Anything further? I don't have any questions. Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 4, Bureau of Sanitation, Council District 11. This will take a moment for me to read into the record. A request for authority to establish 4 separate shortlists related to the advanced water purification facility at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, recommending that the board first distribute and advertise the transmitted request for qualifications for the purpose of establishing a short list of qualified project developers for the design, construction, and operation of a 1.5 million gallons per day advanced water purification facility at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. Secondly, evaluate and qualify the respondents based on requirements set forth in the RFQ and develop a short list of qualified project developers for the HWRP project. Third, distribute and advertise the transmitted RFQ for the purpose of establishing a short list of qualified membrane bioreactor process system package suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents for the HWRP project. Fourth, evaluate and qualify the respondents based on requirements set forth in the RFQ and develop a short list of qualified MBR system package suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents for the HWRP project. Fifth, distribute and advertise the transmitted RFQ for the purpose of establishing a short list of reverse osmosis system package suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents for the HWRP project. Sixth, evaluate and qualify the respondents based on requirements set forth in the RFQ and develop a short list of qualified reverse osmosis system package suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents of the HWRP project. Seventh, distribute and advertise the transmitted RFQ for the purpose of establishing a short list of qualified ultraviolet disinfection and ultraviolet advanced oxidation process, we'll call that the UV process system, package suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents for the HWRP project. 8, evaluate and qualify the respondents based on the requirements set forth in the RFQ and develop a short list of qualified UV package system suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals per the specification documents for the HWRP project. Mr. Herman, you have a card on agenda item number 4.
Well, let me read into the record. Governing bodies under the 54-952, parentheses A, include city councils, city committees, city commissions, and boards and supervisors. For the district boards, covered are all legislative bodies of local government and agencies created by the state or federal law. That the preamble of "We the people" do not yield our sovereignty to the bodies that serve us, nor will the people insist on remaining informed or uninformed to retain control over the legislative bodies in which we have created with our tax dollars. Now, regarding these 4 separate short lists of related hydrant water reclamation plants? Why do we have to fall so short of just 4? Knowing that the city's growth is going to continue to grow. Where there is more people, there is more growth. Where there is more growth, there are density issues. The same reason we had these large storms that have overwhelmed our dams and other areas related to our concerns. But more surprisingly, as I brought out on point 3, advertise suppliers that will be allowed to provide quotations and proposals for the specifications for documents. Well, let's have more transparency to that. Let's have a breakdown, itemize what these specifications by these suppliers on cost management, so that we all know where our tax-paying, hard-working dollars go to, so that in the future to come and the future to go, there is a condition separate from the reality of what you're describing on this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. DeFetta on number 4.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Mr. City Attorney, and Mr. Executive Officer. My name is Tim DeFetta with the Bureau of Sanitation, LA Sanitation, and I'm here today to request authorization for all the items that Commissioner James read into the record. If you do not mind, I have some slides that I want to go through for the benefit of the board. So starting on slide number 1, basically the project that I'm here today to seek authorization for came as a result of Mayor Gassetti's Executive Directive number 5, which basically requires the reduction of 50% reduction in importation of potable water supplies. And so in order to be able to achieve what's called for under this executive directive, Hyperion is a key, plays a key role in basically achieving this objective, because basically we have a lot of water available that currently goes into the ocean that can be recycled and repurposed. And so this project is in line with that to be able to do that. For slide number 2, to give you a perspective, that's just for background to tell you what's going on today at Hyperion. Currently, we have 35 million gallons per day of secondary effluent that we send to West Basin Municipal Water District for further polishing and reuse. And in addition to that, we use about 11 million gallons per day within the plant to cool all the huge machinery that we have. So that's currently the water recycling that is taking place. Once DIGOP comes online in April, we expect that amount to also increase. So you're looking at going from 46 million gallons per day being recycled to about 71 million gallons per day. So that's currently what's happening, work that LA Sanitation is currently doing. Flip over to slide number 4. Basically, in line with the mayor's directive and with leadership from the board and our management at sanitation, we've devised a strategy or plan towards full reuse of the water from Hyperion. So what you see before you is basically a layout of our vision in terms of being able to fully reuse the water at Hyperion. The project I'm here before you today is the phase 1 project, with a goal of December 2019. And this is a project that LA San, in partnership with LADWP and LAWA, we're planning to design, construct an advanced water purification facility at Hyperion with a capacity of 1.5 MGD, expandable to 5, that will serve LAWA, serve Scattergood next door to Hyperion, and also replace some of the potable water used within the plant. So our goal, as we've moved towards self-sufficiency in terms of electricity, we want to also do that with water, because we have a lot of water on site. So the few small amount of potable water that we're still reusing, we hope to offset some of that with this project. So the next phase, as some of you know, is water that's currently moving, coming to Hyperion. Some portion is going to be redirected back to Tillman to increase the water reclamation at Tillman, and that makes less water going out to the ocean. And so that's what we're calling the phase 2 that should happen by 2022. And then phase 3, which ongoing talks with leadership from the mayor's office and the board, we're basically in talks with LADWP and West Basin to increase the 35 million gallons per day that West Basin is currently taking. I'm still on slide 4. We want to get to 70 million gallons per day with that. So that's our phase 3. And then the last phase would be how we get to reusing the 100 to 120 million gallons per day that will be left. So that's basically the timeline in terms of a series of projects that will be coming to the board over time to try to reuse all the water at Hyperion. Now, with regards to this project itself, what's going to happen is we've chosen what we call a progressive design build delivery method. And the reason we've done that is basically we have a new technology that we're going to be using here, which is membrane bioreactor technology. And so this technology is going to be used to clean the water so that it can be recycled. So this is a technology that we haven't used within the city. So it's new to us in the city. There are a few installations within California. So what we've sought to do is basically use a turnkey approach where we're going to hire a developer, and then the developer will design, construct, and operate the facility for about 3 years, so that we shift the risk to the developer, take care of all the issues, and then turn it over after 3 years to city staff. And in the process, we'll get all the training that we need and then start running the facility after that. So as part of this process and the series of RFQs that we are requesting today is basically, one is to hire this developer. So one of the RFQ is going to go out, hire the developer. The other 3 RFQs are going to be for the major process equipment. So the membrane bioreactor, the UV AOP system, as well as the reverse osmosis system. So those RFQs are also going to go out where we're going to get requests for qualifications are going to come in. We're going to shortlist those, the vendors of those major pieces of equipment, as well as shortlist the developers. Then we'll come before the board with an RFQ that we anticipate is going to be somewhere in somewhere in June, where we come back before the board again to get authorization to issue RFPs to the shortlisted developers. And then once we hire the developer, we're going to begin working with them on the design. And then as we walk through the design process, we're going to get to a certain point where we feel comfortable that enough information is there to be able to ascertain the true price of the project. Right now, we have 26 million based on the estimates that we have. But as we walk
Tim,
with
say again, 36 million?
No, 26.
26 million.
So
okay.
as we, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay.
I know if it was 26 or 36.
26, so sorry about that. So as we work with the developer during the design process, making all the changes or corrections that we need, we'll get a good sense of what this project is going to cost. And then the process between the developer and the major equipment suppliers is going to be basically an open book process where the developer will solicit bids, and then the bids will come back from the shortlisted group of people, and then that's how the equipment will be procured. Once we get to that, what we call a guaranteed maximum price, we'll come back again before the board to execute that, and then move into the construction phase. And then after the construction phase, then we get into the operational phase. And so all this, we're looking at basically taking 5 years altogether. So if I can refer you to slide number 6, which is basically the schedule that we have, which is we're now before the board for the RFQs. Around June, we'll come back for the RFP. Then we hope to have a notice to proceed by December 2017 of this year. And then between February and August of 2018, the design will happen. And then August to December of 2019, the construction should be done. And so this is a project that we're working in partnership with LADWP and LAWA. So the next slide basically shows you a rough proportion of how this water is going to be utilized. So LAWA is going to, we have a range, and we're still working on fine-tuning the numbers with them, but they're looking at about 669,000 gallons per day on the high end. DWP is scattered with about 500,000, and then us at Hyperion. And these numbers, as DWP is fine-tuning their designs at Scattergood, the numbers may, we expect some of the numbers may change or go up. So but we anticipate everything is going to be between this 1.5 to 2 MGD range. From our point of view, the more water that needs to be used to offset potable water, the better it will be. So that's why we're working with them to make sure those numbers are fine-tuned. So the next slide basically goes through the process itself that just shows you the train of how we're going to use the MBRO and the UVAOP to treat this water. And this slide basically shows you the location where it's going to be within the plant, an old site where we have some old tanks that we're going to demolish, and then that's where the construction is going to take place. The good thing about the MBR process, and one of the reasons we chose it, is because it has a very small footprint. So as we modernize the plant, we still have to run current operations as we phase in new operations. So we need to, space is of a premium to us. So that the small footprint lends itself to this technology, and that's one of the selling points why we chose this technology. So the rest of the slide kind of just goes through the site plan, and ultimately the plan is to have, those of you that are familiar with Hyperion, you go out through gate A, we're going to have a tank there with a 1 million gallon capacity that's going to go up Pershing and then go into Waldway. So DWP will construct the line from Hyperion all the way to the boundaries of the airport, and then LAWA will construct the line into the airport. So that's basically the process in a nutshell that we're asking for your authorization and your approval to move forward with.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciated the information in the briefing as well. Commissioner Repenning?
I just want to appreciate all the work and planning that's going into trying to really take advantage of recycling at Hyperion. Obviously, in the old paradigm, placing a treatment plant next to the ocean made sense because we were putting everything into the ocean. If we had to do it again, we would certainly put our largest plant somewhere at the top of our system so that we could recycle the water and distribute it freely. In this case, we are where we are, but there's been a lot of really strategic thinking happening with sanitation, with the mayor's office, to partnerships with the local geographic players, with DWP, Scattergood, with LAWA, with the West Basin. And so I think it's great that we are finding a way to increase our recycled water production and to use it there in that vicinity so that we're not necessarily using a lot of power to pump it back up. So as always, your work is very well-focused, and appreciate the explanation.
Thank you. I'm part of the board.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Rivas?
Thank you for your detailed presentation. This seems like a very interesting project, and like Commissioner Repenning said, I really like that we're using the water locally with LAWA and Scattergood and other facilities nearby. But my question, I had a quick question on, you mentioned that your estimate right now is $26 million.
Yes.
Does that include like the training that they'll have to provide to your team members to operate the facility in the future, or will that be separate?
Right now, this estimate covers the
design and construction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you go along, like you mentioned, you'll be back.
Correct. So we have multiple opportunities that we're going to utilize to come to the board at each stage as we get better estimates on numbers as we negotiate, and so as part of this process of procuring the operational aspect, also through the open bid process, we will have better ideas on those numbers, and we will come to the board at every stage to basically seek the approval and keep you informed as to what we're doing.
So the full project is 5 years, so at the end of the 5 years, you expect to be operating it?
Yes, so we're looking at basically designing and constructing within 2 years, and then we go into the operational phase for 3 years, and then after that, it gets turned over to city staff to take over.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you very much for your presentation, and I'm pretty clear in terms of what you're requesting today as it gets to a request for qualifications and a request for proposal to move forward. But in terms of general information, I'd like some clarification in terms of DGUP. When we bring DGUP online, what impact will it have on our capacity to process water and purify it?
So bringing Dig Up online basically gives us a chance to use a renewable resource. So we produce digester gas in-house. And so this now, we're going to have a power plant within the site that enables us to take that gas and generate about 80 megawatts of power on the digester gas. So let me rephrase that. We have, the plant use is about 18 megawatts. Now the gas that we produce is sufficient to create about 15 megawatts of power. So more than about 75% of the plant use will come from this renewable resource. So the plant is energy intensive, and so by using this gas, we'll be able to have a constant resource that we generate on a daily basis. So rather than flare the gas and negatively affect the environment, we are now being able to reuse this gas for a good purpose. So that, again, takes a huge load that is currently on the grid off the grid. And so that begins to have that multiplier effect in terms of DWP and trying to source extra power, because now you have this huge load that is now, to a large extent, being self-sufficient. So to me, that's the bigger gain from the city, in addition to the environmental benefits also.
Anything further? I don't have anything further. Thank you, Mr. DeFetta, for
Thank you for your
presentation and all the questions and answers. Is there a motion on agenda item number 4 by Commissioner Repenning, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issues sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith.
Thank you so much.
Agenda item number 5, Bureau of Street Services requested tree removal 12102 through 12756 block of West Venice Boulevard, recommending that the board find that the tree removal first classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. Second, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, that's existing facilities, sidewalk repair or maintenance, of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002. And third, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state guidelines apply. And secondly, review and approve the tree removal permit request for 5 fern, pine, and 1 Indian laurel, that's a ficus tree, for the construction of highly visible crosswalks. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 5. And Mr. Tyson, I understand that you've got some revisions to the tree removal report on the specification of existing trees. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I want to thank the board for allowing me to amend paragraph 2 under recommendations.
Yeah.
To read as follows.
Mr. Jordan, we can do that orally.
I'd like to hear what the amendment is, but
Okay.
I don't expect there to be.
Fair enough. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Tyson.
I'll just say one more thing before I start. In the heading, we are requesting that the board look at 7 trees for possible removal today, and the number of trees has not changed. In paragraph 2, it's actually written inappropriately, and it talks about 5 trees. So review and approve this tree removal permit request for 2 windmill palms, 1 tipuana tree, 1 eucalyptus, 1 bottle brush, and 2 African fern pines. For the construction of high visibility crosswalks, tree replacements are required. That's what it should state rather than what it says. And with that, I want to
I have no problem with the amendment.
These are actual
Thank you,
photos.
Mr. Jordan. Go
yeah,
ahead.
these are actual photos of the trees that are in the center medians that have to be removed that were not included in the package. So in those photos are all 7 trees. There's 2 in one of the photos, and you can see they're relatively small. So with that, the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, in collaboration with other city departments, are proposing to construct 4 new crosswalks on Venice Boulevard between Inglewood Avenue and Beethoven Avenue in the community of Mar Vista. This project involves the installation of 4 new signalized intersections, improvements of 5 existing signalized intersections, and construction of median island access ramps, curb ramps, and high visibility continental crosswalks. The project is designed to encourage pedestrians using the street, encourage pedestrian use along the street while providing safe crosswalks along the Great Streets corridor. Manucher with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation contacted the Bureau of Street Services regarding the project to address potential impacts to the area street trees. A Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on October 12, 2016. The inspection revealed 2 windmill palms, 1 tipuana, 1 eucalyptus, 1 bottle brush, and 2 African fern pine trees. The trees measure approximately 7 to 28 inches in diameter by 12 to 30 feet in height, growing in 4-foot tree wells and 6-foot wide median. Construction of the new traffic signals and access ramps will require the removal of the 7 trees. Debbie Diner Harris, 11th Council District, was informed of the tree removal request on February 6, 2017. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on December 21, 2016. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was notified. The Los Angeles Department of Transportation contractors shall replant 8 24-inch box-size Australian willow trees at 12011, 12114, 12226, 12310, 12316, 12318, 12446, and 12814 West Venice Boulevard, and 6 24-inch pink trumpet trees in the center medians to replace the removed trees. All trees shall be watered for a period of 3 years by the LA Department of Transportation. So with that, in order to do this upgrades on Venice Boulevard and have the crosswalks actually be able to cross from one side of the street to the other in the middle of the streets, not actually at intersections, these 5 small trees and 2 medium-sized trees would need to be removed.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you. Tim, you know, the 8 that we're replanting, the first batch of 8, are they going in a median or are they going on the sidewalk? The first
8 are, let me go back to it. I do believe it said 8 are in the median and 6, where'd it go? Sorry.
It said 6.
Replant 8 24-inch box-size Australian willow trees at the locations that are listed as far as the addresses in front of.
In front, that's
yes.
adjacent to a building.
Yes,
and then
in front of those properties,
so we're
in the sidewalk,
okay.
in 4x4 foot wells.
Okay.
And then the other 6 will be planted in the center median.
Right. And this is related to a project that we just had approved a couple weeks ago in terms of the great streets and at SAC and
yes, Commissioner.
pedestrian zero vision type of thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cinto. Commissioner Repenning.
Hi, Tim. I just want to appreciate the trees being planted in the median. I know you guys are trying to make sure we get the 2-to-1 in the ground, and that looking at medians and other areas is part of that strategy. So I appreciate it. I think looking at what's already out there, another median with trees in it, it looks great. So I think it'll be great for the neighborhood to get additional trees in the median that doesn't have it.
Yes, Commissioner, we first tried to get the trees back in the environment of which they're coming out of, and then expand out from there or look for other low canopy areas in the city if we can't find an area to plant right near the area where the project is at. So this is within the project limits, and all the trees will be going back in, and it'll be an upgrade as far as the trees.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Thank you, Tim. I don't have anything further. I'll make a motion that we adopt as amended from the podium, agenda item number 5, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt number 5 as amended. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, requested, I'm sorry? No, not on number 5, but you are on the others. Agenda item number 6, Council District 14, Task Order Solicitation number 19, Budget Revision, HNTB Corp., recommending that the board revise the total budget authority from $556,000 to $566,000 related to the State Street overhead at Southern California Regional Rail Authority and Busway Project. Mr. Herman, you do have a card on number 6.
Ralph M. Brown Act legislative booklet, it does say how to grade people who fail, but it says how to make a criticism of those who fail. CD14, however, has issues on how to budget, but this authority under the $556,000 to the $566,600 related to State Street overhead, Southern California Rail Authority and Busway Widening Project. Let me tell you something. It's really fucked up. It's really fucked up when widening projects don't include the ADA standard of 2010 in implementation of your ideas to remove access barriers. And keep in mind that there are programmatic access issues, systematic access issues that you must put into your projects to correct. So whatever furniture, whatever poles, whatever obstacles and K-rail barriers that you have in this issue of CD14, I highly suggest that you get on the JOB, as you brought out with Mr. David, for the embodied or embodying to do your job. Doesn't that remind you? Doesn't it remind you that how we should work in the interest of public? And fuck the political system, because it doesn't want to work with us. We are the oversight. We are the sovereignty of the Ralph M. Brown Act. And we want more transparency, sir. More transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. On number 6, Brian Kanagawa. We're just fixing a mathematical error, correct, sir?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions on this, folks? Just fixing from 556 to 566. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue? Is there a second? By Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issues sending number 6 forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Agenda item number 7, Authority for Expenditure, South Coast Air Quality Management District, the Office of Accounting and the Bureau of Street Services, requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $10,000 to pay for the fiscal year 2016-2017 fees associated with the 2016 annual emissions report for asphalt plant number 1 and asphalt plant number 2. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 7.
Well, we know what asphalt's for. It's to patch up holes. It's to cover up potholes. Potholes that Eric Garcetti, our mayor, for over a decade has not done one goddamn thing to solve the problem with our asphalt issues. And if we had more asphalt plants, not just number 2, and we had maybe $100,000 to pay for the fiscal year, then maybe a lot more could be done. Maybe if we had $1 million to execute the authority of expenditure to correct all the potholes in Los Angeles, then the infrastructure that we all try to enjoy wouldn't impact our lives. But if it has no adverse impact in your lives because you make over $100,000 a year, think of those minority people in minority communities who have no goddamn asphalt like they do off of Wilmington and Imperial when you go over those goddamn railroad tracks and there's fucking holes on the green line. Rosa Parks. Why? Because we have Joe Blow Busciano, the stupid cop who has no oversight in his own community other than put bullshit medical marijuana shops and not patch up the holes of asphalt where it's needed. Someone should stick some asphalt in Joe Busciano's butthole so he knows what it's like to plug up holes. Because if I was a person involved with applying asphalt and with a budget like this, I couldn't do shit with it. A goddamn thing. So put more money into this commission, Eric Garcetti, the mayor, and fix the asphalt pothole issues in the city of Los Angeles for the failed infrastructure that Eric Garcetti, the mayor, has failed to do his job and failed to take responsibility on.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Melinda Chow.
Good morning.
Morning, board members and commissioners. This AFE is to encumber additional funds for the operating fees and emissions fees that are associated with operating the two asphalt plants. We've had previously encumbered 19,000 and spent 19,000 already, and those were primarily for the operating fees of those two asphalt plants. We're asking to increase this encumbrance by another 10,000 to pay for emissions fees for calendar year 2016, as well as other potential fees that may arise associated with the operation of the plants. Last year, we spent 27,000 on operating and emissions fees, plus another 6,000 on additional filings for a total of 33,000. So now we're asking for a total of 29,000 for this fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you for the summary. That's helpful. Any questions for Ms. Chow? I don't have any. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 7. Is there a second? By Commissioners Repenning and Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any issues sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, authority for expenditure, DGS OFS service of a revolving fund, the Office of Accounting and Bureau of Street Services requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $240,000. These are additional funds under authority number AE17 quadruple 02M for fiscal year 2016-17. This provides funds to pay for the use of gas lines that provide asphalt plant number 2 with natural gas for the operation of the Bureau's 1 operational asphalt plant's heater and dryer equipment. The supply of gas enables the dryer to reduce the moisture content of the raw materials prior to mixing of the materials to produce asphalt. Ms. Chow on number 8 as well. I'm sorry, Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 8? Mr. Herman, did he leave? All right, Mr. Herman waives number 8. Go ahead, ma'am.
So the city utilizes the California Department of General Services to pay our gas bills for the Southern California Gas Company. And again, this supplies gas to operate the plant's heater and dryer equipment. We had previously encumbered $200,000, and we have spent $172,000 through November 2016. We're asking to increase this encumbrance by another $240,000 to cover the remaining months of the fiscal year for a total of $440,000. Last year, we spent $500,000. Now, we're asking for a reduction this year because Asphalt Plant 1, as you know, has stopped operation for remodeling. And so we're estimating that our cost for this year will reduce to $440,000.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions on this? I'll make a motion on agenda item number 8 that we adopt number 8. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, ma'am. And other than our adjourning motion, Mr. Mendoza, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have an adjourning motion. Commissioner Davis.
members of the Board of Public Works and distinguished employees and members here assembled, I adjourn this meeting in memory of Dorothy Randall. On February 11, 2017, the South Los Angeles community lost one of its own sheroes, Dorothy Randall, who was Executive Director of Council District 9 Business Resource Center. She was a mother, grandmother, and friend, and she passed away from a long illness. Although she will be truly missed, her community work, kind heart, and energetic spirit will live forever in the hearts of those she touched. Passionate for uplifting local businesses and nonprofit organizations, Dorothy played an instrumental role in bringing vital resources, development tools, and job training to South Los Angeles. During her time in the Council District 9 office, she created a number of business building programs and events to empower constituents district-wide. Whether she was working with thriving to emerging businesses or established leaders to up-and-coming trailblazers, she was a fierce advocate who worked diligently to ensure their growth and prosperity. She also had a sweet spot for connecting with local youth and helping them discover the entrepreneurial within them. Prior to joining the Price team in 2013, Dorothy worked as an associate director in the Office of Economic and Business Development for former Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. During her tenure in that role, she supported and assisted several minority business enterprises under a federally funded grant program. Dorothy graduated from California State University, Dominguez Hills, with a BA degree in communication journalism. She went on to obtain a Master's of Arts degree in organizational leadership from Biola University. A gifted writer, Dorothy started a story of love and triumph in the Sickness and Health publication. And she was published in a publication called Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. In her spare time, Dorothy loved spending time with her children and grandchildren. She also enjoyed traveling, reading, going to the movies, and concerts. Dorothy was a loyal, devoted, and caring individual, an embodiment of strength and resilience. She let nothing slow her down. Today we celebrate her life and her legacy in memory of Dorothy Randall.
Thank you. We are adjourned.